welcome to the KCS at Home Summer Edition for Social Studies. This is for grade 9 and this is task 3. My name is Haley Boland and I am a teacher at Fulton High School. So if you're having a little trouble hearing this video, it's hard for you to understand, there's a few options and things that you can do to help you hear and understand this video better. First thing you can do is turn on your closed captions if they're available. They'll be in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. You can adjust the playback speed to slow down the video. You can also consider watching short clips of it, then pause the video, listen, and watch it again. Or you can ask someone in your home to watch the video with you. Stop frequently to talk to a partner about what you heard and what you understood. So today we're going to talk a few things in relation to world history. First thing we're going to talk about is the Partition of India, which is Standard 67, and it says explain the reasons for and the effects of the partition of the Indian subcontinent into India and Pakistan in 1947. So India is located down in the southern part of Asia. Here is the second most populated country in the world. And it is so large that they even call it an Indian subcontinent land-wise. It's so large. So before India got split into two countries, and that's what the word partition means. Partition means to split. So we're going to see this entire area of India here be split into two countries. And that's what we're going to look at today. We're going to look at why was India, the reasons for why India was split into two countries and what it looks like today. So if you remember back to the Savoy Rebellion, we had the Sepoys that were natives to India. They were Indian soldiers that were employed by the British military. Britain already had control over India at this time, and Britain needed some extra help controlling India, so they hired the Sepoys. Things went great for them for a little while, and then we started seeing a big hostility rise amongst the people. The Sepoys felt like they were being forced to convert to Christianity. And if we remember from the Savoy Rebellion, most of the Sepoys were primarily Hindus, so meaning that they practiced Hinduism. The second big religion that was in India at this time is Islam, so Muslims. So we had a lot of Hindus and Muslims that were Sepoys, and they felt that the British were trying to convert them to be Christians and to practice Christianity. As we've seen all throughout world history, is that when you mess with people's religion, that's really going to make people unhappy, and especially if you try to force it upon them. So if you remember back to the British were trying to grease the Sepoys' gun cartridges with pig and beef fat, and beef is against the religion of Hindus to consume, and pork is against the religion for Muslims to consume. So a lot of issues when it came to that. So the British responded quite violently to the response of the Sepoys rebelling. We see the Sepoys here that are attached to a cannon. The British soldiers are in the red jackets, and whenever they light the cannons, the Sepoys' bodies will go everywhere. So it's a very violent rebellion that we talked about here. So beginning in 1765, we can see in these maps, the pink area, that is where Britain has control. So it's starting in 1765. Britain is primarily having its control in India in the eastern part. By 1805, we can see that it has now spread to the southern part of India and even in a little bit to the northern central part. And then 1837, we can see the pink has grown to the western side of India. And then by 1857, right before the Savoy Rebellion begins, our pink is really consuming many, many areas all across India. So Britain's going to respond violently, but the Sepoys are going to lose this rebellion. They're going to lose this rebellion, and Britain is going to continue to control India for almost 200 years. Okay, so there's a really famous guy named Mohandas Gandhi. Gandhi here, you may have heard of him. He's not, he is a guy that is known for his very, very peaceful methods of protesting and trying to get things to change, but he does not use violence at all. He is a huge, one of the world's biggest human rights activists that we've seen, and he only did it through peaceful ways. He would use his body to help with protests. He would do a lot of walks. His most famous walk was the Salt March, where he went all the way down to the sea, and thousands of people would follow him. I mean, he would lay in roads, he would sit places maybe where he shouldn't have, but he would use his body, but he never used weapons. But the things that Mohandas Gandhi did really helped India get its independence from Great Britain. So that was huge. So now that India now has their independence from Great Britain, everything is not peaceful. Things are not going as smoothly as one would hope now that your country has independence. Instead, there is a lot of fighting between the Hindus of India and the Muslims of India. So that's going to bring us to our essential question that we're going to look at in this task is, was the partition of India a good idea given what the people knew at the time? So the partition, the separation of India, is going to happen in 1947, and we're going to look at, was that a good idea to split India into two countries, or should India just remain one large country? So there are two primary characters that we're going to look at. One is named the first guy is named Muhammad Jinnah. Muhammad Jinnah, he is the leader of the Muslims. Okay, he is the leader of the Muslims that are living in India at this time. The second guy we're going to look at is Jawaharlal Nehru. Nehru is the leader of the Hindus in India. So before India is split, again, is this massive country, all this green area here. So this is pre-partition, pre-split of India. And then after India is split, we see the new country called Pakistan created. The Hindus are going to remain in India, and Muslims are going to go to Pakistan. Now, there are definitely some Hindus that are living in this region of India when partition occurs. So now they have to pack their bags and they have to move to India. And there's definitely some Muslims that are living in India that now have to pack their bags and move up into Pakistan, where the Muslims are going to live. So India, and this is still how it is today, India is like 99% Hindu, Pakistan is like 99% Muslim. Okay, so all the green area now here is Pakistan, the yellow area is India. But if we look in this northern part of India and Pakistan here, there is a region called Kashmir. Kashmir is a very, very, very disputed territory. We see kind of there's mixed control between India and Pakistan on who really controls it. Because one thing we have to think about and know is that Pakistan, the leaders of Pakistan and India did not draw these borders of what Pakistan was going to look like. Someone from Britain came to India and drew the line, but didn't quite finish this line very much up into this Kashmir region. So now there's been a lot of debate and fighting and conflict in this Kashmir region on who has control. And things can get really dangerous between Pakistan and India because they both have nuclear weapons. Pakistan and India are pretty frequently in the news today, and especially over this disputed territory of Kashmir. All right, so here we can see just a better picture for you. This is what India used to look like, and then after the split of India, here's where Pakistan is going to be created there. So people are having to move all across the entire country, across that subcontinent, trying to get to their correct country where they're supposed to live. Hindus are going to live in India, Muslims are going to live in Pakistan. And this was a very common scene, trains that were full of people and people on top of trains. While people were on this journey trying to get to their designated country, there were lots of instances and accounts of rapes and murders and violence between people because of a different religion. Okay, so there's a few activities that I would like for you to complete. The first activity is a timeline analysis with questions, just looking over kind of the history and how we got to this point of the separation and partition of India, along with some questions. The next activity is a document analysis with questions and a writing response. What you're looking at in these documents, you're trying to figure out, was the partition of India a good idea given what people knew at that time? So you're going to be looking at primary and secondary sources. Some primary sources from Jawaharlal Nehru and Muhammad Ali Jinnah as well. So once you read through those 4 documents, come to a conclusion on, was splitting up India a good idea or not? And then lastly, we want to know what the India and Pakistan border is like today. And you can watch a short video to figure that out. This video will highlight the region between India and Pakistan called Kashmir. It's a very disputed territory today, and many even consider it to be the most dangerous place in the world today. So take a look at that video and see, why is it so dangerous. Also want to encourage you guys with this module, this decolonization module, is that it's going to contain several parts of the world. It's going to contain parts of South Africa and Central America and parts of Africa as well, of how they are getting independence, and that new states are going to be created because of decolonization, because countries are getting their independence from their European and American rulers there. So I highly encourage you guys maybe check out some of those topics, and I hope you guys enjoy learning more about the partition of India.